Hi, Michelle.
Hello. How's it going?
Good. You?
I'm fine. Hi, Michael.
Hey, Michelle.
Nice t-shirt, Scott.
Hey, Sean.
I like mine better.
Yours is very nice also. I didn't see it, but
I
I
know,
couldn't tell.
Well, you know, Sean, I have to alternate. So today's a maize and blue day instead of a green and white day.
I understand. Okay, I have 6 o'clock. Carol, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you. Just checking.
Okay.
Okay, I've got 6. I'm not seeing Paul or Julie unless I'm missing them, but we'll call the regular city council meeting of August 10th, 2020 to order. Welcome, everyone. We're doing this meeting via Zoom as we have since late March and in accordance with the postings. So thank you for attending. We'll start by saying the Pledge of Allegiance together. Justin, if you can put the flag up, if you could find it. I'd like everybody to stand and please join me, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
The
of
flag
the United States
of
of
America.
America and to the republic
and to the
for
republic
which it stands,
Which stands
one
one
nation,
nation
and nation
under
under
God,
God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
all.
Ms. Jones, if you could call the roll, please.
Okay. Councilmember Bell,
Present.
Councilmember Cousins, which I don't see either. Councilmember Fisher,
I think she's here, or was.
that's what I said.
I see Donna on the list there.
Yep, I see her face, so
Okay,
I'll mark her for that.
okay.
Councilmember Knight, which I did not see either. Councilmember Michelle,
Present.
Councilmember Smith,
Here.
Student Rep Alex Gilbert,
Here.
Student Rep Bella Malik,
Here.
Mayor Keough.
Here. Thank you, Ms. Jones. Item C on the agenda is approval of the meeting minutes from our regular city council meeting on July 27th, 2020. I see that Jim Smith has his hand up. Jim?
Yes, I'll move the minutes of July 27th, 2020.
Okay, moved by Smith. Is there a second? Scott Bell has his hand up.
A second.
Scott seconds. Thank you. Mr. Smith, the floor is yours with any changes or comments.
Yes, I have 3 changes. Well, actually 2 changes and then a request. The first one is on page 4, I6 in the city manager report on the 7th bullet, where we have the opportunity to host. I would change the first N to an A. So it's a document shredding, and then after shredding, I would add the word event, just to clarify that.
Okay,
Next one is on page 5, under the consent agenda. I would just like to make a request that when appointments are being made under the consent agenda, I would like to see the position and names noted in the minutes. For example, in tonight's approving these minutes under number 4 under the consent agenda, where you have a commission appointment, just have like in brackets, Parks and Recreation, and then Jake Young would have been the person that we appointed the last meeting.
okay,
I just thought that'd make the minutes a little clearer, what was done on that without having to go and dig out the packet for people.
good suggestion.
All right, the next one is on page 6, under K4. That motion there had 5 yes votes and 2 no votes, so it should be motion carries rather than motion fails.
Correct.
And that's all the changes I have on the minutes.
Okay, Mr. Bell, anything to add?
Nothing.
Okay, other council member comments on the meeting minutes? Okay, seeing none. Ms. Jones, please call the vote to approve the meeting minutes with those changes.
Okay. Bell,
Yes.
Knight is absent. Michelle,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Fisher,
Is she on anymore? I don't see her name.
Yeah, I don't see her either.
okay, I'll just mark her as absent for that one, part
Yep.
one. And
Yep.
Keo,
Yes. Okay, so we had 4-0 then, right?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, so the minutes are approved just barely. Okay, we have no prearranged participation under item D. So we're down to item E, which is approval of the agenda this evening.
So moved.
Moved by Smith,
Second.
second by Bell. Thank you. Any discussion on the agenda? Okay, seeing none. Ms. Jones, please call the vote to approve the agenda.
Bell,
Yes.
Fisher is absent. Well, I'll try. Fisher, Smith,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Keo.
Yes. Okay, motion carries. Thank you. We have an agenda. We have no public hearings this evening. So we're down to non-arranged participation. This is an opportunity first of 2 opportunities on the agenda for anybody in the public that would like to speak this evening. If you would like to speak, please raise your hand if you're using Zoom via computer. If you've called in through your cell phone, you can do *9 on your keypad. That will give a raised hand signal as well. Is there anyone that would like to speak this evening? I'm not seeing any blue hands. Justin, do you see any? I'm taking that as,
I am not.
okay.
Do you want me to
All
try unmuting anyone?
No, I think that's, yeah, if you want, you could unmute Cole, as I see down there. Who else do we have here? Phil Mikas is online.
I'm good for right now.
There's a Logan. Logan is online.
I'm fine too.
Okay. All right, Justin, thanks for your help on that. Always good to double check.
Welcome.
Okay, if you could scroll the agenda up or down just a little bit, we'll get to communications under H, I believe. We have our meeting list. Are there any questions or comments on the upcoming meeting list? Scott, you have your hand up, and then Jim.
Yeah, not on the meeting list, but I see Donna is muted.
Okay, good
And
call.
I think Justin needs to unmute her.
Yeah, Justin, if you could unmute Donna, that'd be great.
And then maybe she needs to unmute herself as well. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll give her a try and let her try to talk.
There she is.
Donna, are you there?
Thank you. Yep, I'm here. Thank you.
Okay, great. Jim, you have your hand up, please?
Yeah, on the meeting, list of meetings, council meeting 8/24 should be 6 o'clock.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Anything else, Jim?
No.
Okay, we will jump into our first report from our Public Services Superintendent. Good evening, Dan.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi, Dan.
Provided a 2-week report. I also have some updates on ongoing projects, hopefully soon to be done. I'll start with Hudson and Grand. I don't know if you've all been able to drive and take a look, but the project's come along quite well. I contacted late last week the contractor. They've got some restoration work still to do, and they have 2 sewer leads that they need to finish for 2 of our residents. They're supposed to be back Wednesday and Thursday of this week. So we're hoping to get that finished up with the restoration, the sewer lines. They've got a couple stumps they still need to remove. And hopefully after this week, we can put some kind of punch list together for them and do a walkthrough. Any questions or comments on Grand and Hudson?
They look great, Dan.
Thank you. The contractor and OHM did a pretty good job. The restoration's coming around quite well. We actually have grass growing up there already. The next project that I'd like to talk about is Mill Creek Path. We had a update meeting last week, and they're talking about laying some asphalt down. We're gonna have a meeting tomorrow at 1 o'clock to go over, for me and for us, the impact, how they're gonna get that asphalt back there, whether they're gonna do it all off of Baker Road or if they're gonna do some of it off of Grand and Broad. So we're gonna do an update meeting for the path and then also discuss how the asphalt's gonna get back to that path. I think that's still a few weeks out, but I should know more tomorrow after the meeting. Any questions on that?
Oh, it looks great too.
The last update I have is Forest Street. I talked to our contractor today. He met me out on site. He's supposed to be back tomorrow to finish laying a little bit of storm pipe and then finishing his restoration. I'm hoping that he does show up tomorrow. I know this isn't a great big project, but right now is a good time to get the grass to grow and finish up this project from last year. So hopefully he'll be back tomorrow to finish that up. Any questions on Forest Street?
Nope, thank you.
Do you have any questions on my written report?
I'm not seeing any hands up.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Hey, Dan,
Yeah.
I just have one question. It's not really on the report. Have you guys figured out where you're gonna put all the stuff that's in the buildings that it's on Dan Hoy?
I haven't really had that conversation with
Okay.
her yet, but that's definitely something I can follow up with the next council meeting.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
I guess it kind of depends on what happens too, so. I mean, we do have some storage down below the fire hall right now, so anyway, I can get back with you on that, so.
Okay, great.
You, Sean?
Okay. Yes.
Just so you know, Julia has joined us.
Oh, great. Welcome,
Yeah.
Julie.
Thank you. Thank you. A little late getting in. I got a different computer and a different place, and it took me a little while to connect, but thank you. I'm
No
here.
problem. Glad you're okay and joined us. Appreciate that.
I did talk to
Thank
Paul,
you.
and he's supposed to be coming on at some point too, so he is okay.
Okay. Okay, good. Thanks, Courtney, for following up. Appreciate that.
Paul's on. Paul's muted though.
Yeah, when you log in, you're muted automatically.
Okay, so I'm going to move down to our Community Development Manager report. Michelle, are you ready?
Okay, there we go. Thanks, Justin. Okay, good evening, council. How are you doing today?
Good, Michelle. Hi.
Good, thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Julie, are you up north?
I am.
I'm jealous. Okay, so you've got my report in front of you, and before I go into any updates, does anyone have any questions for me? Okay, so, excuse me. Planning Commission is going to conduct a public hearing and at its meeting on September 8th. That will be on Tuesday because of the Labor Day holiday. Can't believe it's already Labor Day, by the way, but we can talk about that later. The public hearing is to consider proposed regulations and ordinance changes for short-term rentals and bed and breakfast establishments, inns. Excuse me. Michael has done a excellent job getting this together for the Planning Commission. He's done most of the heavy lifting, and the Planning Commission felt very comfortable with how we've presented everything and how we've structured the the regulations. So bed and breakfast are currently special land uses. Those would be, they're proposed to be changed to permitted by right uses in the residential districts. And I believe the village commercial as well as some of the other districts, because it lends itself well to multiple districts that have residential in them to begin with. The short-term rentals would be divided into or categorized in two different ways: short-term rental housing, accessory short-term rental housing, and vacation rentals. And the big difference between those, without getting into a whole bunch of minutia, is your vacation rental, the owner isn't occupying the property at all during the rentals or at any other time. So at this particular point, it's being proposed as a special land use. Michael, you can correct me if I misspeak, please, or Mr. Smith. Excuse me. There are some questions as to whether that should really be a special land use or not, but Planning Commission's going to, they'll talk more about that in September. That's about it for the updates, other than I am expecting an email request to come in from Chayla's today. The rubber's hitting the road here, folks, and it's becoming very difficult for some of our businesses. Chayla's is going to be asking if there's any way that council administration will consider allowing them to temporarily defer their tap fee payments, which are in their water bill. Have them be deferred for a little bit and recouped on the back end. Currently, there's a 5-year agreement that would end, let's see, it started 2018, if I remember, Courtney. So it would end in 2022, 2023. Any deferment would be requested to be put on the back end, not a complete elimination. If you've got any feedback for me, I'd really appreciate it.
Michelle, clarify who that's for again.
Chayla's, the Mexican restaurant out at Dexter
Okay.
Crossing.
I got you now. Thank you.
there any other questions for Michelle? Okay, thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
We are down to city manager report, please.
Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
I don't have too many updates to my report. A lot of the last 2 weeks was the election, and that's took a lot of our time. We are already preparing for November, going through all the applications from March and August that also count for November and getting them organized. The city, Councilmember Smith had pointed out that the city manager report should have said, I think it's 23% of the turnout was at the polls, not 33%. That's just a typo. But we did see a significant number of absentee ballots, but also a decent turnout at the polls. I think more than I thought would turn out to the polls, which was good. I think the election workers did an outstanding job. We were done pretty early. I think we headed down to the county by 10, which is good. I think we're the second community to finish in Washtenaw County and have our stuff just behind, I think it was Bridgewater. So we were a close second. But I really appreciate all the workers that, came out under unknown circumstances, and the voters, they were all respectful. We didn't have any drama with masks, nothing that got out of hand. So I appreciate everybody's cooperation, and I think it was really successful, and hopefully we can see the same in November. We know our absentee total, we already have about 1,700 applications scanned in for November. So we know it'll be another heavy absentee turnout, but I think, we'll be ready for that. I don't know if I mentioned in the past, but the Watershed Council is going to be working on rewriting or updating the watershed management plan for the Middle Huron. And so they wanted a city representative to sit on that. So I am fine with doing that. I already sit on the Middle Huron Partnership, and then I can just, ask for help if I need, Paul Evanoff or, council's opinion on something. So unless there's any issue or someone, has a burning desire to be on the stakeholder committee, I can take care of that.
Good.
Councilmember Smith asked about the survey document that was in the packet. That is our property on Dexter and Arbor and Meadowview. So council had approved OHM to do a survey of the property several months ago. So we had to wait for the soil borings to be done, and those are indicated on the survey. Because it was a fairly complicated survey, because there's a lot of old easements, OHM did suggest that the city attorney and or title company review it. So once things kind of settle down for Scott, I'll ask him to kind of just give it a once over. And then if you notice on the survey, I know it's small, so if anybody wants a hard copy, let me know. But along Meadowview, there was that issue with the property gap. And so what I think would be best is just to dedicate all of that as right-of-way, just to clear it up and clean it up. And then we can move forward. But as you can see, the property line kind of goes into Meadowview, and that doesn't really make any sense. It should be right-of-way. So unless council objects, I'll have OHM draft a quick claim deed to ourselves for the right-of-way. Kind of like we did on the Dan Hoy property. We quit claimed the right-of-way so that it was consistent. I don't think I have anything else, unless there are questions.
Courtney, do you want to have Justin just touch on the memo that was included requesting the ballot language just briefly?
Oh yeah, hold on, let me just double check one other thing here. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. I knew there was something I didn't write down. The DPW new hire, Justin can touch on that a little bit too. So we did extend an offer, which was accepted, thankfully, so that hopefully that new person will start on the 24th. He is currently employed and had to give notice. So we're very excited because that position has been vacant a very long time, and with winter coming up, it's really, and no summer help right now. It's really important to get that filled. So that was the other thing I wanted to mention. Justin, do you want to talk about the memo?
Yeah, so we received petitions for a ordinance amendment from the same group that submitted the charter amendment petitions. City Attorney Scott Munzel and I met with Mayor Keogh, Courtney, and another attorney, and we talked through the issue a little bit. Scott has done some research, and there's a closed session tonight to discuss those documents. I don't have the memo in front of me, but I have certified that there are a sufficient number of signatures on the petitions to move forward with the process.
Okay, and I guess what I wanted to make sure at this point, since it's included in Courtney's report, is we have, do I understand, we have 30 days to do something on this, which means we don't have to take action tonight, but at our next meeting, if we decided to take some type of action, we would have to do it at that time. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I was talking about the timeline and.
Okay, yeah, and the timely, should City Council want to do something, the deadline for the November ballot to submit ballot language to the county is tomorrow. And after tomorrow, the next opportunity for an election would be May.
I think the memo said 2020, but that should have been 2021.
Yeah.
May of 2021.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Jim, you have your hand up. Jim Smith.
Yeah, question on Courtney's report. Talk about the fire station training scheduled for August 25th.
Mm-hmm.
Given the lack of action taken at the last meeting, I'm wondering, and with the number of petitions that have been submitted for people running for council, there's a good chance for some changes on council. I'm wondering if we should postpone that training until after the election.
Yeah, that was done by council action, so council would have to take action to move it.
Is that a motion, Jim?
Yeah, can I add that to the agenda, please?
Sure. Motion to make that new business item L4, I guess it would be.
Yes, please.
Okay, is there support to do that?
I'll support.
Second by Bell to add it to the agenda as new business item L4. Any discussion?
Yeah,
you
just
still have-
out that no matter what, we're gonna have at least 4 members of council who are the same after November election.
Zach, can you repeat that? I didn't hear it clearly. Sorry.
Oh, yep. No matter what happens with the election, despite the number of folks running for the open offices, at least 4 members of the council are going to be exactly the same come 2021 as present.
True. Okay, Jim, I still see your hand up. Is that, but I assume you're just haven't pulled it down?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Carol, can you call the vote to add that to the agenda as new business item L4, please?
Okay. Smith,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Cousins,
No.
Fisher.
Yes.
Is that a yes, Donna?
Yes.
Okay. Knight,
No.
Michelle,
No.
Keough.
Yes, I'll add it to the agenda for discussion. Anyway. Okay, so motion carries. So we now have new business item L4.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Any other questions for Courtney? Okay, thank you. Thank you to you and Justin. I was out of town for a week there, so my report is a little shorter. I didn't do very much in terms of my activities. I did include as an attachment to my packet a copy of the proposal that DTE had promised a couple weeks ago regarding their Michigan Green Power Initiative. And if anyone wants to talk, we can, but my intention is to put this on a future agenda for discussion, sometime here in the near future, but wanted to share the proposal as soon as we had it. Again, I don't think that the city has necessarily a renewable energy goal, but I think it is something that's worth discussing. And then I went for a walk and included some pictures of the trail in case you haven't been able to be back there. They are coming along quite nicely on our path, as Dan indicated. And anyway, I just thought you might appreciate seeing what it looked like. So on the Dexter Area Fire Department side of things, we will have our collective bargaining or union negotiations starting up here in short term. So I just want to let everybody know that that will be taking place here in the near future. And the chief is going to be interviewing for the candidate list of that will serve for new firefighters if they are needed. So he's going to be doing some interviews scheduling some interviews over the next few weeks to take applications and help formulate that list. So that's the only updates that I have at this point. Does anybody have any questions for me on anything? Okay, seeing none. Thank you. We're down to item 7A, or I7A. Paul, anything on your council member report?
Nothing in addition to what's printed. Thank you.
Okay. Zach, down to you at 7B.
Yep,
Sir?
I know a lot of us have been struggling with nickel and diming, 10 square feet out there, 100 square feet out there. I just wanted to do some quick and dirty math to show the cost of waiting. It's not nothing. In fact, it's rather significant. Also, it has been really fun getting out and touring these different fire facilities. They love to talk about their buildings and what they like and what they don't like. If you haven't, you ought to do it. That's all. Although I'm really interested in going to the Milford one that has the only $300 utility bill in winter. That sounds quite spectacular.
Wow. That must be a green facility, huh?
Must be.
Is that their downtown one, Zach? Or in the township?
I believe it's the one in the city.
Okay.
But I'll let you know in the next month.
Okay, thanks. My brother just moved out of Milford, but I know I passed one that was, right downtown.
Okay. I guess we're down to consent agenda then, is that correct? So there's one item on the consent agenda. Do we have a motion? Donna Fisher has her hand up.
Sure. I move we approve bills and payroll in the amount of $131,495.92.
Okay, moved by Fisher. Jim Smith, you have your hand up?
Only item.
Second.
Okay, motion by Fisher, second by Smith. Ms. Jones, if you would call the vote to approve the consent agenda, the bills and payroll.
Yes. Fisher?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Cousins?
Yes.
Knight?
Yes.
Michelle,
Abstain.
Val,
Yes.
Keel.
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries. Consent agenda has been approved. We have no old business under K this evening. So we're down to new business. Item L1 is consideration of the Planning Commission recommendation to approve the amendment to approve combined site plan for UIS 2290 Bishop Circle East. Jim, you have your hand up?
Yes, I'll make the motion on page 60. City Council moves to approve the amendment to approve combined preliminary and final site plan for UIS dated July 3rd, 2020. And with the following conditions, those listed 1 through 8 on page 60.
Support Cousins.
Seconded by Cousins. Thanks, Paul. I can turn it over to Michelle. Does that sound okay? Michelle, you want to take us through what's here a little bit?
Okay, so what you have here tonight is, as Sean has explained, is an amendment to the approved site plan for UIS. Excuse me. Due to changes resulting from COVID and so operational changes due to COVID, as well as some construction factors, have prompted this request for an amendment. The plan will now be a 20,000 square foot standalone building, complete with all of the improvements that the expansion would have had. But instead of being an extension of the existing building, they'll do a standalone building. It will require a land division because they will only be constructing or developing on roughly 2.5 acres of a, excuse me, 4.2 acre parcel. The site is zoned RD, which is research development. So what they are proposing, as it did before, still is consistent with the zoning. So the Planning Commission considered this, heard from the applicant, heard from the from staff and the planning consultants. Planning Commission voted to waive the 4-foot setback requirement for the north entrance. That was so that it could align with Mill Creek Drive. That modification was also one that was supported by the engineer, city's engineer. They approved a waiver that would allow more than 10% of certain species, and those are listed in my report. And then they also voted to allow or granted tree preservation credit. They ultimately recommended approval, unanimous approval, with the conditions of that are listed. Excuse me. The one that had been the terms of the agreement with UIS, council was familiar with the history because it came to you after Planning Commission had initially recommended approval of that original site plan. So once they understood or had the information for the history of the easements and et cetera, they saw that it needed to be part of the condition of approval. So what you have before you is their recommendation, and the conditions, as Jim identified, are in my review letter. If you've got any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Michelle, at this point, I'm not seeing any questions. Their hands up or people waving their hands in pictures that I'm missing? I see a hand. Zach, I got you.
Yep. Just a question about the plant species. Was it an issue where they called their favorite nursery and they said we don't have those, or they can't find them in all of Southeast Michigan?
So part of the difficulty is, excuse me, our ordinance has very specific requirements, and some of what you're talking about may be applicable. It was not one that was brought out. It's the increases, or the how can I put it, the percentage greater than the 10% was not to the level that the Planning Commission or staff and consultants were concerned that it would be a problem.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Are there other questions for Michelle? Okay, I'm not seeing any. Miss Jones? We have a motion by Smith, second by Cousins, I believe it was. Can you please call the vote to approve the amendment to the approved combined site plan for UIS?
Yes. Bell,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Knight,
Yeah.
I didn't catch it.
Yeah.
Julie? Okay, thank you. Cousins,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Keo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Motion carries 7-0 if I got it written down right. Thank you. New business item L2 is consideration of extension of the emergency ordinance to mitigate the impact of the COVID-19.
Cousins will make that motion.
Okay, motion by Paul,
Second, Michelle's.
second by Zach. Thank you both. Council, any discussion needed here on this?
Just think it makes sense for all the businesses that are struggling right now to extend the time.
I'll just point out that a couple other businesses not listed on there have used this. The bakery and the creamery are both using public spaces. And the Little Ninjas.
Yes, they are. Okay. Thank you. Any other comments? And this would take it out to October 21, is that correct?
Correct. That's the motion.
Okay, Ms. Jones, please call the vote.
Okay. Knight,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Cousins,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Keo.
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries.
Sean, if I could.
Yes.
So one of the things I'd like to do, since this will expire on the 21st, and many of those, I shouldn't say many, but those businesses that have liquor licenses, the state allows those to go to the 31st, but obviously if we don't extend or have something, that will become a problem. So I'll be working with Courtney and to figure out what way we can come back before this expires. It may need to be a new ordinance that, a new emergency ordinance that, excuse me, deals with extending into the winter months. So just giving you a heads up at this point.
Okay. Thank you for working on that. I think we all feel that's important to try to do.
Thank you.
Okay, new business item L3, consideration of ASTI's Phase 1 Environmental Site Assessment proposal for 8140 Main Street for an amount not to exceed $7,500.
So moved.
Okay,
Michelle's.
moved by Smith,
Second, Michelle's.
second Michelle's. Thank you, Zach. Courtney, turning this over to you briefly?
Michelle or I can, talk about it. It's just a phase one. We've done many of them. There's a good chance we'll get funding from the Brownfield Authority to complete it, just like we did for our DTE and for the Dexter Number Road property, various phase ones. That's a good use of the county's funds that they get for doing brownfield projects. So this was added to the agenda at the request of council.
Gotcha. Council, any questions on this?
Zach.
Let's see.
Got a hand.
Zach, is your hand up, Zach?
Yeah, I noticed in the materials, they mentioned restoration or renovation and reuse of the building. Would this provide us information that we need for demolition and removal of the building as well?
To the best of my knowledge, I had told them when I asked for the estimate to make sure that they identified their proposal for either tripping up on the word, on either
Alternative.
example.
Okay, so I presume that things within the building we'd have to be aware of when renovating or reusing it, we'd have to be aware of when taking the thing down.
Correct.
I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Michelle and Courtney, I'll just let you follow up with, ASTI to pass Zach's question on to make sure that that's being covered appropriately. Brian probably can answer it pretty easily. Okay, further council questions? All right, seeing none. Got a motion and second. Ms. Jones, please call the vote.
Okay. Cousins,
Yes.
Knight,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Keo.
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you all.
What's that?
I said thank you all.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for bringing that forward. New business item L4, which is basically to consideration or discuss whether to have the online learning opportunity for Mr. Newell, whether to keep that on August 25th. Mr. Smith, you asked that this be brought forth as a new business item.
I'll make a motion to move the fire station training to a date to be scheduled after the November 3rd election.
Okay, is there support for that? Scott, your hands up.
Yep, I got it. I'll
Go ahead
second.
with that.
Okay, so moved by Smith, second by Bell to move the fire station training to a date to be determined after the November election.
Yes.
I'm just making sure I got it written down. Carol, you got the motion?
Yes.
Okay, so moved and supported. Discussion? Can somebody remind me, are we paying for the training? I can't remember.
Yes.
Yes.
What is the cost of that, Courtney?
I have to look it up. I don't remember. It wasn't.
A few $100 or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. That's what I thought it was. Okay.
Zach's hand is up.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I didn't. Zach, go ahead, please.
Is the intent to do this reschedule as after the election or after the new members are sworn in, or after the new members are sworn in, that's when we figure out what the date's going to be? For the maker and the second, that's the question.
I assumed it was after the new members are sworn in, Zach.
Yes,
I thought that was Jim's intent.
so that'd be the second meeting in November usually.
Okay, so to move the fire station training to a date after council's been sworn in November.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, any further questions or discussion? Okay, Ms. Jones, please call the vote.
Knight,
No.
Fisher,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Michelle,
Nope.
Smith,
Yes.
Cousins,
No.
Keo.
Yes. Okay, motion carries 4-3. So Courtney, if you could have that brought back up on whatever the appropriate agenda is after the new council is seated, please. We are down to item M, which is council comments. I'll go in order of the participant list here. My own random way here, I guess. Julie?
I have nothing, thank you.
Okay, Paul?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
You're welcome. Scott?
Yeah, very briefly, this past Saturday, I made it down to our farmer's market for the first time this season. Sorry to say it took me a while to get down there. Got some great hot peppers. And it struck me what a great venue and event that is. And I just want to encourage everybody to partake of that.
Well said. Alex?
Yes. I'm glad to see our community beginning to open up, but I think the local karate studio who uses Monument Park for lessons could use a reminder to maintain social distancing between participants.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Donna?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Jim?
Yeah, I'd just like to remind people that after tonight's meeting, good idea to keep an eye on the radar. They've had some severe weather in Wisconsin, and it's starting to move into Michigan now.
Okay. Thanks, Jim, for that.
Yeah.
Zach?
Just a couple of things based on the conversations today. I was wondering if there's be any interest, since we're inspecting the building for the fire station for hazardous materials for renovation reuse, if there'd be interest in us doing a code inspection for the folks who are actually using it. And if we have any contingency plans, if the firefighters start to say we don't want to be stationed at that building, just for future discussion ideas. That's it.
All right. Thank you. Justin, I might need your help here. Bella?
Hi, sorry, my audio wasn't working that well. I don't have any comments. I thought it was a good meeting.
Okay. Thank you for attending. All right. We are back around to non-arranged participation. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak this evening? Justin, maybe you could unmute the same people again and just make sure that we give everybody a chance. Just so everybody's aware, we do have a closed session planned following the non-arranged. As I understand it, for the closed session, Justin will move most people to what do you call it? A shared room or something?
Waiting room, yeah.
Okay. I didn't see any hands come. Oh, I do have a hand. Phil Mikas, please join us under non-arranged.
Hey, Sean, thanks. I hope you can all hear me well. I'm having a little battery recharging issue here.
You're good.
Number one, I wanted to just get on tonight to thank, on behalf of myself and any other businesses that I've talked to, the council for approving the use of the parking spots out in front of businesses. For those of you that have been into the grotto, you've, I'm sure, noticed that our business is pretty much 95% outdoors. And so obviously as a new business owner and even a business owner that's been around for a long time, that's great, but it also is concerning for the impending poor weather months to come. I appreciate the extension into October. I would strongly consider or recommend some conversations about extending that even further. And I would make the argument that it would make a lot of sense to allow some sort of use of the parking spots even into the winter, to allow for some sort of weather-friendly construction or barriers or something to allow some people to be outdoors into the winter months, because I truly believe that when that outdoor seating disappears, I'm going to guess that our business and a lot of other businesses that have been making good use of that outdoor seating will largely disappear as well. So, I mean, this is only an additional COVID problem that's just a couple months away, and I can't imagine that we're going to be released from this lockdown before the end of the year. So it's just something that I, again, mostly wanted to say thank you to everybody, but also start that conversation for the months ahead as early as we possibly can. So thank you again.
Thank you, Phil. Appreciate that. Justin, do you see any other hands up?
I do not. And I did unmute everyone.
Okay. All right, then Courtney, help me here. We need a motion to go into closed session. I believe that includes just the 7 elected council members plus Courtney and Justin at this point is what's been
Carol.
recommended. Is that correct?
And Carol.
And Carol, sorry, yes, and Carol, thank you.
I'll make that motion.
Motion
Second.
by Fisher
Yes.
And our attorney, right?
and our attorney. Is there a second?
Yes.
Second by Smith? Okay, so why don't you call the roll, Ms. Jones, to go into the closed session, and then we'll let Justin adjust the Zoom meeting so that we're in our own room or whatever.
Okay. Smith,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Knight,
Yes.
Cousins,
Yes.
Keo.
Yes. Thank you. All right,
Sean-
we are going
Sean,
into
can we have a
closed
short,
se- Yep, I see Cole's been added. Okay, we are back in open session. Correct, everything all set, Justin?
I believe we are good to go.
Okay. Okay, so we are back in open session. Jim Smith has his hand up.
Yes, on the topic of the petitions regarding the land sale ordinance, I would like that placed on the agenda for our August 24th meeting.
Okay, motion, that's a motion by Smith to place those on the 24th. Is there a second? Scott
Yep.
Bell has his hand up.
A second.
Second by Bell. Okay, thank you both. Any discussion required? Okay, seeing none, Ms. Jones, please call the vote.
Bell,
Yes.
Cousins,
yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Knight,
Yes.
Keo.
Yes. Okay, motion carries. Thank you. We will have that subject on the next agenda, August 24th. Smith, you have your hand up?
Yes, I'd like to have council instruct staff to proceed as discussed during closed session.
Okay, motion by Smith. Mr. Bell, your hands up.
Support.
Second by Bell. Thank you both. Any discussion required? Seeing no discussion, Ms. Jones, please call the vote to approve that motion.
Michelle,
Yes.
Knight,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Cousins,
Yes.
Keo.
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries. I will seek a motion for adjournment, please.
So moved.
Moved by Smith,
Support.
second by, was that Bell?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Thank you, everyone, for a good meeting.
Thank you. Everybody safe for the week?
Everybody have a good week. Yeah.
Thank you
Stay
too.
cool.
See you all around town. Good night.
Sounds good. Good night, everyone.
Right.
All right.
Thanks, Courtney. Thanks, Justin. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.